Moonshots, spend it on the have-nots. Money, we make it. Before we see it, you take it. Oh, make me wanna holler the way they do my life. Yeah. Make me wanna holler the way they do my life. This ain't living, this ain't living. No, no, baby, this ain't living. No, 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 no. Inflation, no chance to increase finance. Bills pile up, sky high. Send that boy off to die. Oh, make me wanna holler the way they do my life. Yeah, make me wanna holler the way they do my life. Oh, baby. Setbacks, natural. Fact is, oh honey, that I can't pay my taxes. Oh, make me wanna holler and throw up both my hands. Yeah, it made me wanna holler and throw up both my hands. Oh, ow! Crime is increasing. Trigger happy. Policing, panic is spreading. God knows where we're headed. Oh, baby, and everybody thinks we're wrong. Mother, who are they to judge us? Mother, mother, simply cause we wear our hair long. Mother, mother, ooh.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. Hello, darlings. Hello, darlings. Welcome into another stream. Okay. All right, let's get it started. Do I think Party Monster is a film Austin has seen? I feel like I can tell you with certainty Austin has not seen Party Monster. I do not think Austin has seen Moonlight. Probably not Brokeback Mountain. Probably none of the like major. I bet he's seen Crash. I bet he has. Yellow's your color. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. He's probably seen Call Me By Your Name. Maybe. Maybe. Definitely has not seen Death Becomes Her. I know that. Anyway, good morning, everybody. How are we doing? DB Cyclops, thank you for the 31 months. Sound Killer, thank you for the 22 months. Oh, EP. Are we EP this morning? Mike from PA just endorsed you. Man, I know. He has been messaging me. And being like, you have to run for office. And I said, you know what, Mike? I will run for office at, what did we say? 20,000, 50,000 subs? He's like, if I get a certain amount of likes on Twitter, you have to run. I'm like, what is that rule? Yeah, 50,000. It was so funny because I said, I set a sub goal. And if I hit that sub goal, then I will run. And he's like, haha, see? I went, that sub goal is 50,000. I'm canvassing people to sub to CarolineKwan for office. Yeah, I have to get nukes first. That's right. I forgot about the timeline.
Doing my part 07.
Lowfly, thank you for the 15 months. I forgot. I have to get nukes first, and then I run for office. Because that's the world that we live in. You're going to become an elected cop just like Kamala. Oh, yeah. Because LAPD is at 10,000 subs. Oh, man. That's right. I become a cop first. And then I get nukes. And then I run for office. Because that's how it goes. That's the timeline. That's the path to Congress. Yes. It is. My cousin's a state senator in Michigan. I could see you doing it. Like you're like, you know what? My cousin did it. You can do it. Yeah, or I just run against The Rock for president, in like 2032 or something. Me versus The Rock. Hey, look, if my cousin could do it, you can do it. Just a normal American success story. Cop, nukes, Congress. Well, first you gotta beat Radon. Do you think you would enjoy being in any political office? Honestly, no. I especially especially the more local level you like, like national to local, you have to deal with really annoying people. Okay. When I used to fundraise for candidates, I know the kind of people they had to deal with. And I'm sorry. I just don't think I have the patience. Wow, she's talking about us chatters. Look, I can handle Twitch chat, but I just don't know if I could handle like local people being so annoying. The town halls were the most accurate part of Parks and Rec. Yeah, I've seen Parks and Rec, okay? being a female streamer has probably prepared you for more for political office than anything else. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Speaking of being female streamers, I would just like to remind everyone of the GoFundMes that are circulating and to please support those. And I've just been thinking about Michaela Raines, who she was a YouTube star and an activist, and I didn't know who she was before, but she had dedicated her life towards rescuing foxes from fur farms. And I found out about her because she took her life. Like, she died by suicide, and it's just a really, really tragic story. And you know what's baffling to me is a lot of the so I saw it on my timeline. For instance, Dexerto, and all the comments in under Dexerto post were all like, we need to be kind to one another. What a shame. Like, these people should never get to know peace. I'm like, I will tell you without a doubt, you same motherfuckers who are saying this under a post announcing the news of the suicide of Michaela Raines, absolutely have participated in harassment campaigns. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me to see people talking about how harassment campaigns need to end, how, people need to see each other as human beings, extending their condolences to Michaela's family and talking about how horrible it was that she was cyberbullied into taking her own life. And I'm like, oh my God, you people will say this, and then you'll turn around and you'll tell Casey trying to kill herself. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus Christ. What are we doing? Yeah, it's always not serious until someone dies, and then it's so serious for 3 days. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my God. This is horrible. Harassment needs to end. It's like, do you not see though how you participate in the same thing? And look, you guys, here's how I feel about this, okay? I don't care if you don't like someone. I don't care if you do not like, and I'm not talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, okay? No, I got choice words for that motherfucker. I'm talking about a content creator, especially one who does not have that big of a platform. I'm not talking about Michaela Raines, okay? I'm talking about content, content creators who are especially belonging to marginalized communities. And it's you don't like them, and then that translates into, I'm going to harass them to no end. Think about this. Would you walk up to somebody in the real world that you didn't know, but you just didn't care for, and tell them to kill themselves? Harass them to their faces? No, of course not. What they even come up with to hate on her? I mean, okay, first of all, it's the internet. So this is how this goes, right? This is just commonplace now. The very compassionate Dexerto crowd. Animal rescue activist and YouTube star Michaela Raines has died by suicide, according to her husband. She was 29. Ethan Raines announced her death in an emotional video on her YouTube channel on Monday. He said that for years, his wife suffered from various mental health issues and struggled to cope with online criticism. She couldn't bear what she was feeling any longer, and she ended her life. And it breaks my heart that someone who is so selfless and devoted her life to animals could have so much negativity pointed at her. And to those of you that pushed her to this, every one of you that has been responsible for making her feel this way, I wish you had to feel what she felt. I wish you had to feel what I feel. Michaela Raines created a nonprofit animal rescue organization, Save a Fox Rescue, in 2017 when she was 20 years old. apparently she was also on the apparently she was also autistic, and she had a hard time she had a hard time being able to focus on things, and this was one thing that she was really able to like hone in on, and it was something that she cared very much so about. And anyway, she had spent the last 8-9 years dedicating herself to this. Now, as far as my understanding goes, okay, so the range of harassment that she received was from people who felt like she was not properly suited to run this animal sanctuary, that there were problems with it. I don't know, like whatever. It's honestly one of those, like, at the end of the day, y'all harassed and bullied this woman into taking her own life. And like, she was a person who had openly talked about her depression and her mental health struggles. And like, there was a dedicated Reddit subreddit to just constantly bashing her. I was seeing people discussing the Snark subreddit, which is apparently shut down or something. Yeah. Can I just say too, like, in general, if you are spending a lot of time on, I honestly, Reddit in general, but like specifically Snark subreddits, I don't care who it's about. Okay. I don't care. That's not good. It's not a healthy thing for you to be doing. Spending all of your time on Snark subreddits. I don't care who it's about. It's extremely unhealthy. Yes, it is. And also, let me just say, just because a subreddit does not have the word snark in it does not mean that it's not a snark subreddit. If you are on subreddits that spend a lot of time talking about internet creators, okay, public figures, and you're just like, this is your life, like your life is just being in the comments, obsessively following along, it's very unhealthy behavior. It ruins your ability to like be a normal human being. Since then, Michaela had built a large following on social media dedicated to her advocacy efforts, accruing more than 2.4 million followers on YouTube and hundreds of thousands on other social media sites. Ethan Rain said he performed CPR on his wife for 15 minutes before paramedics arrived. Also, to anyone who's like, something seems suspicious here, the fuck are you talking about? You think this is the first time? You think this is the first time that someone in the public eye has taken their life because they have been dealing with so much harassment? Or just like in general, people on the internet who have been harassed so much that it ends in tragedy? I mean, just in May, Charlotte Fosgate, the transgender teen who there had been a massive harassment campaign towards her, also took her own life. And then the way that it was like celebrated afterwards, because people are fucking sick. People are sick. So if you are sitting here like something sounds not right here, I hate to break it to you, but this is actually far from abnormal. And maybe it doesn't result in the person who's being harassed taking their own life, but it can result in them leaving the internet. It can result in them experiencing severe mental distress. Also, the cops would have right away considered whether or not the husband actually did. I mean, you guys, leading up to this, she was posting videos where she was very clearly in distress. Like she was in the Snark subreddit talking, trying to defend herself, and to no avail. I can't imagine hating anyone so much that you celebrate their suicide, especially from bullying and harassment. Yeah, man. So, okay, let me finish reading the details here. Ethan Rains encouraged people who are feeling lost and hopeless to reach out to friends, family members, or crisis hotlines, and for those with loved ones who are struggling to do something or say something before it's too late. Despite this being the biggest loss of my life and feeling like I have a literal hole in my chest, I will not let Michaela's light be extinguished, and I won't let negativity win, and I won't let her mission fall apart. He said he intends to continue his wife's work and asks for privacy in the near future. As long as you guys will continue to support all of us here at Save a Fox, we will keep pushing forward. I'm confident we can bring more light to this world, and we'll be doing it for Michaela. She also leaves behind a young daughter who was featured regularly on her social media accounts, Freya. Oh, God. It's just... It's obviously so sad, and also really frustrating because people, like, there's such a disconnect, okay? There's such a disconnect between recognizing, like, oh yeah, this was horrible. This was horrible that this YouTuber was cyberbullied so extensively, was, you know, was a victim of an online harassment campaign, and it resulted in her dying by suicide. But there's a disconnect between that then and people who will go on to participate in a harassment campaign against another content creator, right? What are we doing? Are you talking about Michaela? Yes, I'm talking about Michaela, but I'm also talking about, like, Casey Tron is, I saw her tweet this morning, like, where she was posting about death threats that she's been getting and just like the harassment that she has been enduring. And it's like, look, I don't care if you don't like Casey Tron, if you're like, oh, she's annoying or like whatever. I just need people to stop for a second. The news of Michaela Rains' suicide is still fresh on our timelines. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying like Casey Tron's about to kill herself, but it is causing, like, as somebody who has been on the receiving end of a harassment campaign and who is not that big of a content creator, and so the hate is very outsized, and also, like, being a woman on the internet, I don't care. You cannot deny the fact that there are a lot of people who will seize on the opportunity to be so disgustingly misogynistic. It's like easy pickings, okay? Easy targets. And you're like, oh, yeah, oh, you're pulling the woman card. It's like, look, again, I don't care if you personally like a content creator, okay? I'm not saying that, oh, if there's a woman on the internet, you have to like them. But you cannot deny that female content creators, that LGBTQ content creators, that there are specific types of public figures who will receive an outsized amount of harassment, and very specific type of harassment because it's easy to. You know, where it's people who it's like they have no stake in the game. They have no fucking stake in the game. And yet they'll jump on the harassment train because it's easy to, because it's easy to. Agree that nobody should spend an abnormal amount of time on a snark page, but what if it's a page that tries to hold an abhorrent content creator accountable for truly abhorrent behavior that's truly maddening? Look, here's what I will say. There is a difference between legitimate criticism, okay, and then harassment. And I will say there are many content creators that I don't fuck with, that I do not like. But I would never send my community, like, whether I'm doing so, explicitly or not, to go harass somebody and, like, send them death threats. You know? So I'm not saying that you cannot you cannot hold content creators responsible and like accountable for their actions and fairly criticize them. But there is absolutely a line between that and then engaging in like a just harassment campaign. And you also have to take into account power dynamics, right? And recognize that when somebody is a smaller creator, when someone is a smaller creator and they are being targeted, it is going to be so overwhelming because you do not have the resources and the support that larger creators have. So for instance, like the other day when someone said, why don't you, or like, why doesn't Hassan promote you more, or something like that. And I said, because here's the thing, I don't want the hate, which I have already been on the receiving end of. I don't want the hate, even if it means that people who I align with politically and morally will find my content. Because when I was on the receiving end of a harassment campaign, because I am a smaller creator, because I am a woman of color, like the attacks and the outsized amount of harassment was overwhelming. Like it almost caused me to leave the internet, right? It's that type of thing where you just do not have the resources and the support to counteract the harassment. Oh, this is not good. Sorry. That reminds me of when people ask why someone like Asana or Maximilian Dude don't rate people, because having that many viewers and rating someone can cause issues. Yeah. Um, I mean, look, it's like, why do you think that these big creators tend to not go after other big creators in the way they will small creators? Because the obstacles are less, you know? And I like, again, I don't care if you go, oh yeah, but I don't like this. I don't, whatever. Okay. I'm not saying that you have to like every content creator. And I'm not saying you have to like, content creators who, I'm not saying like if a content creator is a woman or if a content creator is LGBTQ or from another, marginalized community. You don't have to like someone to recognize when there is like a very targeted harassment campaign against them, and to recognize that like really, really awful people, really disgusting, horrible people will seize that opportunity to like either totally run them off the fucking internet or like worse. Criticism is not celebrating her death. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. You're talking about Michaela. When I don't like a content creator, I simply ignore their content because I'm not insane. Like, man, man, I'm not, I am not trying to make this about myself. I'm just using my personal experience to explain this. That I have received targeted harassment, and I did not turn around then and go, you know what? I am going to now copy this exact behavior. No, I have not sent my community to go like harass even a person who was harassing me. And the thing is that a lot of people, especially a lot of female creators, they don't talk about the harassment that they get. They don't talk about the rape and the death threats that they're constantly receiving. Like it's so normal as a female creator to receive, I mean, just as a woman to like get rape threats. But it's one of those because a lot of us just don't talk specifically about the kinds of threats we receive, then maybe people don't perceive like how how normal it has become. The sexual harassment is so rampant and people expect you to take it as a compliment. Yeah. And look, if you are a large content creator, you have a responsibility. You have a fucking responsibility, whoever you are, to not weaponize your audience, especially if you are in a feud or if you are whatever, like if you are in a fight, whatever, feud, beef against a creator who is significantly smaller than you and who is who is you know, a person who the internet loves to pile on. Drop the names out of those who attacked you. I want to have a talk. It's not, it's like too many, you know. It's just, that's just, it comes with the territory of being a woman of color, and one who is outspoken on the internet, right? And I think there's a lot of people who cannot recognize those power dynamics where they'll go, oh yeah, well, this person is shitty. Okay, but like when somebody has millions of followers, of supporters, and somebody has like 1/100th of that, please understand that that is an unequal dynamic there. And there's a reason that big creators will, and their communities will go after smaller ones, because it's a lot easier to take them out. You know? I mean, straight up, like this is why I, in just knowing Hassan, have been on the receiving end of so much fucking shit. Because it's like, oh, they can't take Hassan out. They can't, you know, whatever. So I guess they'll settle on the consolation prize. Fiona, thank you for the 6 months. A lot of
people would benefit from taking their hands off the keyboard for sure.
Yeah.
Women hear enough as it is. Much love. Heart hands emoji.
Tracy Poop, thank you for the 2 months. I don't know. If I could just make a plea, man, if I could just make a plea to the people of the internet, please get offline. Please take breaks, because what kind of life are you leading when you spend time, harassing someone on the internet? That's a miserable existence. It really is. It's a miserable existence. Like, maybe I just don't have the gene that makes me go into someone's comments, and especially someone who's just like a random internet creator, and say really crazy shit. Maybe I'm just missing that gene, but I don't know. I mean, I would never tell any content creator to go kill themselves, even if I don't agree with them. Like, even if I think they're causing harm, because you know what? I don't want to be a part of normalizing this, like telling everybody to go kill themselves. I don't know, like maybe that's like such a radical thing, but it just feels like we throw that around so loosely these days, where it's just like, I don't know, it's again, it's something where you would not say that to someone's face. You would not walk up to them and be like, hey, I'm taking bets on how long it's going to be till you kill yourself. Okay, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen in real life, but most of these motherfuckers in these comment sections on the internet, I know that they're not doing it. It's just that the internet and the anonymity of the internet makes people act like such goons. I think we're a little desensitized and removed from each other. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So like, here's my thing, okay? You don't like Casey Tron. You don't like other creators because they don't like your fave. Can you please just take a breath? Can you please just go, you know what? I'm gonna not like this person and also not spend all of this time harassing them to no end, because it's just bad behavior. It's bad behavior. And I would say that like I am a person who, since I started streaming, I will tell my community repeatedly, like, please do not fight battles for me on the internet. Even if it's not that you're even engaging in harassment, I just don't want you, and maybe this is why I'll never have, the support system of bigger creators. Cause I tell my community, I'm like, fuck these people. Okay. Like if you're in the comments, if you're 6 comments deep with some random on the internet, on Twitter, just extract yourself. All right. I don't want you to be, first of all, never be an asshole on my behalf. Yeah. Please never like represent the community poorly. As a reminder, never represent the community poorly. And there's a lot of creators who need to tell their communities that, and they don't do that because they don't want them to do that, because they want them to go forth and be soldiers for them, right? Like help fight their battles online, because it's engagement, because it keeps them relevant, because it like keeps their community members feeling as if they have a task, right? As if they are soldiers. I know this because people who have come after me on behalf of other content creators, they literally have this mentality of like, I am fighting this war for my creator. It's very unhealthy. And so they're dedicated to it. They are like dedicated haters. They are online soldiers. Exactly. So I think every creator has a responsibility to themselves not be contributing to the harassment of other creators, especially when they are much smaller, especially when just like their existence is going to generate hate because they are trans, because they are, a woman, whatever. And then also not weaponize their communities. But I love arguing. But arguing feels so good. Does it on a place like Twitter? Because you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere with that arguing. Vanilla Mace just had to tell her community that as well. They were leaving mean comments on a charity stream event towards other creators. Like, good for her, though. Good for her. Good for her reeling her community in, being like, not in my name. Listen, fuckers. You are not a part of this community if that is how you go forth and behave, because you represent me. Because as a fan of me, this then reflects on me, because to a degree, content creators are their communities, and vice versa. The community that you have cultivated is a reflection of you. If I were to see people in the name of the Quantourage going forth and doing shit like that, trust that there will be issues. Trust that shit will never fly. And I think that Vanilla Mace did what every content creator has a responsibility to do, which is to tell their community to cool it. Like that is not a representation of me. I would not want to be known as the creator that has horrible fans. Right. Where it's like, oh, people are like, oh, the Quantarage, yeah, watch out. Watch out, because they'll say the most horrible things to you. That would be it, okay? I would nuke it. I would get the nukes that I don't have, and I would nuke. It would be over. It does kind of suck that creators I like sometimes say the unalive stuff too. It might be more joking and not against creators necessarily, but it should be avoided. Yes. Look, you have to lead by example. Okay. You have to lead by example. So I'm not like, this is when people start to be like, yeah, but look, right? Where they'll go, okay, but it's not fair because, and I'm not trying to do like the liberal civility aesthetics, but I truly do believe you have to lead by example as a content creator. And it's like, look, there are some content creators who genuinely are a net negative. Okay. They are a force for bad. And the bigger of an audience they have, and the more, the more dangerous rhetoric and behaviors they exhibit, that net negative increases. But as a content creator who is saying the things I'm saying right now, I am not going to like lead by example, and that example being telling this content creator that I don't like to kill themselves, right? Or kind of turning a blind eye if my community is doing such. There are some causing great harm and using their audience for harm on smaller content creators. 1,000%. And you'll notice too that when one of them is going after a smaller content creator, then the other ones it all converges. What is happening? Shogun, why are you talking about American obesity? What is going on? Why are we doing this? Okay. The less people acknowledge the troll streamers, the less oxygen they have. Yes, and I want to say something on that as well, which, look, I am a person who generally stays away from any type of drama content. Now, I don't think that someone being harassed falls under drama, okay? And I don't like to dismiss that as drama because I think because oh my god, a spider is on my ceiling. I'm sorry. Okay, focus. Okay, hopefully this stays where I can see it. I do not think that somebody being harassed falls under the category of drama. Now, I will say that there are plenty of trolls in this industry. There are plenty of people who I think it's gotten to a point where it's like, stop giving them this much attention. Okay? Stop giving them this much attention. Sorry, you guys. I'm really trying to concentrate. Y'all know I hate spiders, though. Okay. I'm sweating. So that being said, this spider was sent after me by one of these creators. Who I'm saying is responsible for harassing small creators off the internet. Wow, drama between you and spiders is crazy. Anyway, this is just a public plea, to the people who are harassing like Casey Tron and Frogan and Denims and other small content creators who just by their existence on the internet are going to be recipients of hatred and of harassment. This is a plea to like not be a part of that. And I don't care if you don't like them. If you're like, yeah, okay, but blah, 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 blah. Like these people are these you can criticize somebody. You can criticize somebody fairly, and that is not the same thing as engaging in a harassment campaign. And more people need to understand what that line is. I am someone who like, look, you have criticism for me, fine. If that criticism is made not disingenuously and it's not like being used to harass me, fine. I am not going to ever say that I am perfect, that I am not deserving of any critique, but there is a line. And a lot of what I get, a lot of what Frogan gets, a lot of what Casey and other smaller creators get is not actual fair criticism. It's like straight up vitriolic harassment. Being a woman online is horrible in itself, and it's frustrating because people will just go, oh God, okay, no, you're doing the woman thing. You're doing the woman thing. And it's like, man, I don't know how to explain to you that yes, women can be terrible, okay? Women can be terrible, but you cannot deny the open misogyny that exists on the internet because it exists in our world. There is misogyny throughout this world that we live in. And it's not just with Muslim men as much as Christians on the internet will have you believe. Misogyny is everywhere, okay? Unfortunately. And that means it exists on the internet too. And it is like a tool to wield as a way to like get women out of public spaces. You'll notice that journalists, female celebrities, any type of public figure, even just regular women on the internet, experience so much harassment. Like, just look in the comments, look in the comments, look at how something like AI porn is weaponized. Almost the entirety of AI porn is used against women. I'll wrap up by saying, being an older woman online sucks because everyone thinks you should be taking care of kids and cooking for your husband. I'm 47 and I've been age shamed for 17 years now. Yeah. It's just like, there are so many things that I have just normalized because it happens all the time that like, I don't even think twice about it. Yeah, like people telling me, why don't you have children? Why aren't you married? They wouldn't say those things to Will. Of course not, but they'll say those things to me. And you are doing great. Thank you, Open Presence. Thank you for all the hundreds. They would never say those things to Will. I remember the first time that it was like a couple months into streaming, and I asked him, I was like, have you ever gotten a death threat? And he said no. Like in 5 years of streaming, he had never received a death threat. And I will receive death threats that are combined with like really disgusting racial slurs. Like they'll do it all at once. You know, they'll just get it all in the same threat. It'll be like deeply misogynistic, deeply racist, and then also you know, just a death threat. Throw it all in there, package it up nicely. Also, the real threats of IRL violence like Emiru experienced. Yeah, and it's crazy because even if you are a likable female content creator, of which, let's be real, there are few, okay? There are few. The internet cannot wait to turn on female content creators. And so there are few that it's like, I would say kind of generally have generally are looked at with like favorably, you know, Valkyrie, I would say. But even still, I've seen instances of, oh, God forbid it's like the type of scandal and controversy female creators will be caught up in, and then the just barrage of hate their way, versus it's like, oh, if you're a guy, most likely if you're caught up in a controversy, it has something to do with sexual harassment. It has something to do with that, versus like, oh, I was promoting a product. I was promoting a product that people didn't like, you know? Yeah, that's completely fucked up, but politics definitely plays a part in breaking people's brains, and will sticks a bit more clear from politics. No, for sure. Look, there are many things about me that check the boxes, and it's why I've gotten a lot of the shit that I've gotten. But also just it's also something, though, that like our lived experiences in this world it tells two different stories. Like, and the truth is that if you have not lived as a woman in this world, you just can never understand what that experience is like. Like, it will always be a blind spot. But also there are plenty of women who, they don't want to acknowledge that reality. They internalize misogyny, and it always hurts when like it's like women who are participating in harassment of other women, right? Like, there's something that is like extra hurtful about that, because it's like, man, I'm out here trying to stand up for y'all and make this world better for women, and it's very sad to see that you are participating in the friendly fire, that you are participating in this because you think it's going to protect you. Like, you think that this is that this is the winning side, and so you're gonna stay on that side, and hopefully it'll offer you, I don't know, protection in this world, and it won't. No, I genuinely can never fully understand. I've had my partner explain it to me countless times. I don't think I fully understand the full scope and how each little thing adds up in making life magnitudes harder for women. Elise, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Yeah, I mean, that goes for not being able to experience what others do, and the most you can try and do is empathize, right? And understand that, like, you will never fully understand because it's just not your lived experience. Woman to woman, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You know what? W women. And I will always keep advocating for women, even if there are women out there who are making it harder to. I will not stop. I cannot imagine being so pathetic. I decided to spend my free time sending hate messages to Twitch streamers. Life is too short for that incel shit. Yeah, and I know that my little appeal won't cause suddenly this great revolution on the internet where people decide that they're not going to participate in this, but I can only hope, and I can just send my condolences to Michaela and to the people who cared about her, and hope that like this type of behavior stops. Like I just want this to stop, and I want people to take responsibility, like take personal responsibility, whether you are a content creator or you are a consumer. You know, we talk about collective action, but when it comes to stuff like this, like you do have an individual responsibility as well, where there cannot be shifts without individuals deciding I'm going to take personal responsibility for my behavior, and I'm going to try and not contribute to the worst parts of the internet. This is CarolineKwan from Women, indeed. CarolineKwan from Women is making the appeal for people to just be better. Just be better. Reading comments online always makes me sad in a way that living as a woman makes me sometimes sad. Existential sadness for the way of the society, but we can change it. We will change it someday. Yes, we will. Oops. Oopsie, oopsie, oopsie. Also, I got some not so nice text messages because you guys, I posted on my Instagram the horny copy pasta of going out and supporting Zohran. And let me tell you, it did not go over well with everybody in my life. Let me see if I can find horny copy pasta Zohran Mamdani. Which copy pasta? I'll find it. Hold on. Okay, wait. Zohran is this it? Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Folks, please announce that the only modern day endorsement that matters, a horny emoji copy pasta, has come in favor of Zohran Mamdani. New York's next mayor has officially arrived. Attention, NYC hotties. It's time to get that sexy ass to the polls and rank Zohran Mamdani as your number one choice for NYC mayor. Early voting starts today, and we have until June 24th to elect this zaddy to command our city. He's ready to lay down the law with socialist policies like freezing the rent, making buses fast, free money, and enacting universal childcare. Don't even think about ranking Andrew Cuomo ho. That old hog will fuck the constituents out of the city. Send this to 69 of the horniest voters you know. If you get 0 back, you'll get stuck with that fugly slut Cuomo in office. Get 25 back, and you're in for a wild civic ride with Zaddy Zohran. Find your poll site at vote.nyc page/find your poll site. And then there was another one that came out. There was another one that came out on the day of the election, and that's the one that I shared. It's, New Yorkers, if you're reading this, that means it's Erection Day, and we're having a full-on orgy at the polls. Zohran Zaddy Mum Daddy is topping the polls, and he's finna thrust deep inside City Hall, dripping, dripping, dripping with uninhibited passion and big, bold, throbbing ideas. He's got a long, fat agenda, and he's ready to tell those greedy landlords to suck it. Stimulate the MT gay till it's fast and free. Tax the 1%, make them gag, and take back New York. Here's what you gotta do to serve your zaddy. Get to your ass-signed poll site to stuff that ballot box deep. Vote Zohran Mem Daddy or risk getting raw dogged by capitalism again. Rake Zohran or keep paying $6,000 a month for a closet to cry in. Send this to 13 fine-ass slutty visionaries who deserve low rent and high-quality orgasms. Polls are open till 9 p.m., so get wet and sweaty for Zaddy Zohran. Yeah, so people who Will's family, some of Will's family saw this. All I will say is I got some text messages. My mom is not on Instagram. My mom is not on IG. She would probably not like this energy. You know, she's look, this woman was raised Catholic. Okay, she still will say sex. She will still say sex. Spell it out. I'm screaming. sex. So no, she, even though she likes Zohran, she would not appreciate the horny copy pasta tweet. She wouldn't even know what that is. She'd be like, what's a copy pasta? What is this? Oh gosh. Oh goodness. Okay, so let's watch Zohran on MSNBC, and let me say that the worst people are panicking big time. Okay? From Bill Ackman and other billionaire centrists, establishment Dems to the right, where it's funny to like see Fox News spend so much time talking about like NYC falling to ruin, and it's like, wait, I thought y'all have been saying this because New York is a blue state. It's a blue city. So like, why do you guys care so much? Why do you suddenly seem to care about New York City politics when it's not like this has been, you know, it's not like New York is a red state. So what's the problem? All right. So here's
Zohran Mamdani. It's great to see you. I don't know if you've slept, and I'm sure you are still processing what happened last night. A lot of people on our team.
You guys, I fell for fake news yesterday that I do have to own up to, and I sent it to Will, and then immediately I was like, okay, this is fake news. But I saw people sharing what I thought was Zohran's top 10 films of the 21st century, and I was like, oh my God. This man just continues to be so based. But it turns out that it was actually someone else's list that people had just been passing around pretending that it was Zohran's film list. And I sent it to Will, and I was like, could he get any more based? And then 5 seconds later I realized that I fell for it. And I was like, never mind, don't forget I said anything. Yes, I want to shout out Zoe Rose Bryant, whose list it actually was. But people were sharing this and saying Zohran dropped his picks for the 10 best movies of the 21st century. It's Boyhood, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Everything Ever All at Once, Get Out, Mad Max Fury Road, Moonlight, Mulholland Drive, Parasite, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and Social Network. And I was like, oh, this man can do no wrong. He is just consistently pumping out W's. And then I realized it was not real. So it's fine. It's okay.
Teens stayed up and watched your speech. I just laid out how I think you garnered as much support as you did.
Boyhood, I'm voting for
as you
Eric
process
out of
this, what did I miss?
I think you covered quite a bit of how we got to this point, and I think the only thing I would really add is this volunteer team that we've built of now more than 50,000 people, they are the New Yorkers for whom democracy had started to lose meaning. It started to lose its relevance to the struggles of everyday New Yorkers. And they are the ones who for so long had not seen themselves in our local politics. And yet they are also the ones who brought us to this point, who knocked on more than 1.5 million doors across the 5 boroughs and showcased that a vision for a New York City, currently the most expensive city in the United States, a vision that would make it affordable, is one that speaks not only to progressives, but speaks to New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, from Harlem to Bay Ridge, and speaks to the very fact that ultimately what city government's job is to make this city that much easier to live in and actually achieve the very dreams that brought you here in the first place.
As I'm sure you know, you probably haven't consumed all of it, I suppose, but there's been a lot of analysis, a ton, on what your success last night and in the last couple of weeks means nationally for the Democratic Party. Unquestionably, it means something about how people campaign, but what do you think it means?
I think it is part of a larger referendum on where our party goes. And I think one of the hopes that we had from the very beginning of this campaign was to move our political instinct from lecturing to listening. You know, at the national level, after the presidential election, we saw that New York was actually the...
You know what? He is evidence that not all speech and debate kids suck, okay? Sometimes speech and debate kids use those skills for good, all right? So we're not going to write them all off.
State with the largest swing in the country towards Donald Trump, 11.5 points, and that swing took place far from the caricature of Trump voters, instead taking place in the hearts of immigrant New York City. And I went to those neighborhoods. I went to Fordham Road in the Bronx and Hillside Avenue in Queens, and I asked those New Yorkers, the vast majority of whom were Democrats.
Okay, so let me just give a couple thoughts too, and Taylor Lorenz wrote a piece about this that encapsulates my thoughts on this as well. But like, Zohran won on Tuesday because of a combination of factors. As you can tell, he is masterful with language. He's so good. Okay, he's so good at speaking. He also is deeply principled. He is consistently on message. He has like just a really great energy to him. I mean, this is talent. This is truly talent. So when people like AOC and Zohran Mamdani come along, I think it shows you what political talent looks like. And it's not to say that like there are not progressives who are not political talents as well. Barack Obama. However, I think like what progressives need to recognize in this moment is that it's not just important to run somebody who has great politics. It's important to run people who have the energy, who have the charisma, who are on point, who know how to communicate, these ideals and these these politics. You gotta be, you gotta have it all. You do, unfortunately, because of just how overwhelming the party of the Democrats, the Democratic Party power is. So like as an individual socialist, real progressive candidate, you have to be firing on all cylinders. You have to be so much better than they could ever dream of being, right? Like being principled, being charismatic. I feel like people try to reduce his success to individual aspects of his success when in reality, all of it matters. All of it matters. And all of it is going to need to matter coming up in the general, right? He's going to have to, he's got to take all of this and push it out to the broader New York voting public. I told my Uber driver about Zohran. He got excited about what is going on. The driver said that Zohran was for the people.
Why they voted for Trump and what it would take to bring them back to the Democratic Party. And again, what I heard from them was cost of living, was an inability to afford the very things they recalled being able to purchase 4 years ago. And when they told me what it would take, they said again and again, a relentless focus on an economic agenda. And ultimately, in listening to them, we built a campaign that was explicitly about making this city affordable. And I think too often in politics, there's a desire to impose what you think the debate is upon the people that you're seeking to represent, as opposed to listening to the very issues that are making it difficult for them to keep calling the city that they love the city that they live in.
You have to be damn near perfect when you're not dick riding the current admin. Yeah, I mean, when the cards are stacked against you, you have to be as fucking good as you can be. And this is what I've always said about like those who are advocating for say Palestinian liberation, especially as non-Palestinians. We have to be principled. We have to be on message. We cannot resort to, you know, we can't resort to like playing dirty in the way our opponents would because of the mountain that we're up against. It reminds me of like, and I don't want to look, the model minority, it's bad. Okay. Being a model minority, trust, like that was something that I had to shake off in my own life that I still struggle with, is like the model minority, especially as somebody of Chinese descent. However, I believe in this concept of being principled. And I believe that when you are a person whose ideals are ones that we all need to share, whose politics are ones that are the best for all people, then you gotta be on message. You have to be so much better than the opposition. You know, it's like you saw with Zohran. He didn't play dirty tricks. He didn't resort to the type of to the type of shit that like people with a lot more money and power behind them will resort to. You got to be immovable in your convictions. Yes, you have to let your values lead. You have to lead with that messaging discipline. Yes, you have to be extremely, extremely disciplined. Sam TL, thank you for the 2 months. And it's a huge responsibility. It's a lot. It is. Trust. Like, look, not everybody can do this. Not everyone can do this. It is not easy to have to go up against the machine and stay on message, be principled, be charismatic, be better than your opposition. And that's why I'm like, look, this goes back to what I was saying about the harassment of content creators, where it's like, look, y'all, we need to rise above it. Okay. As a leftist community, we need to be principled in a way that they never will be. And again, I'm not trying to like, I'm not pulling the civility politics that Democrats love to, oh, wow, the aesthetics. Okay. Like, because they use that as an excuse to not fight back against fascism, to like align themselves with fascism, so to speak. As a leftist community here, we always have to be better. And if you don't agree, no, I'm not saying when they go low, we go high. That's not like That's not what I'm saying, okay? I just mean, I hope that you see the example that I try to lead with. And I hope you follow that example, where it doesn't mean that we don't fight for the things that we believe in, but the things that we believe in always have to be what we lead with. Okay. A morning stream. How am I going to smoke weed while watching if I'm at work? Well, I'm not saying nothing. As a brown Muslim socialist, I'm worried about the joint anti-Islam brown rhetoric that's going to be coming out. I mean, it's been there. The powers are aligning to be so Islamophobic that it makes your head spin. Just like totally cartoonishly racist. And again, we push back against those things, right? Like we call out bad behavior, but we always lead with our, lead with our values. Be principled. Always be on message. And it's a huge, it's difficult. Like it's very, it can be very exhausting, but we have to be that way. I've been enjoying the memes making fun of these people. I'm not saying I'm not saying that you can't like mock the insanely racist Islamophobia, but like I'm just talking about as a content creator, how I use my platform, what I prioritize, like what I want to, look, sorry, it's the morning. I only slept for 4 hours, so my brain is like whirling right now. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I feel like I'm talking in circles right now. The Islamophobia has been so constant and blatant that I think normal people watching are getting tired of it. Yes. I think because it's so transparent. And it's just so nasty, and it's not at all engaging with any of his ideas, any of his politics. It's just the most disgusting, racist personal attacks. Only 4 hours. Hope you're okay. Oh yeah, I'm good. Netanyahu just announced that NYC will have a nuke in 3 to 5 years. Yeah, no, they're gonna have to regime change in New York City. I will say this though, it warms my heart that more people are calling it out, especially those that aren't Muslim. Yes, we have to always be calling out this. We have to be calling out this bad behavior. And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll go back to listening to Zoran talk, is his win on Tuesday is an example of how just like talking about the opposition, the other guy being bad is not enough. You have to inspire people. And I highly recommend the book Let This Radicalize You by Mariam Kaba and Kelly Hayes, because that book focuses a lot on how it's not enough to just make people angry, to just, point out how bad everything is. You have to inspire people. You have to like run the spectrum of emotions here. And what you have seen with Zohran's campaign is that he did all of that. Above all, he energized people. He inspired people. He made people feel that like politics doesn't just have to be this thing that is, that is horrible, and that we have resigned ourselves to we have resigned ourselves to a world of just everything sucks. Look at all these horrible things. Look at all these horrible people. The system is so crushing. There's nothing that we can do. Like, that is not the way that you win. You have to inspire the masses towards collective action. You have to, you have to excite people. Zohran ran as I want to make things better and what you want, while every other Democrat runs, the other guy is worse and I'm more popular. Yeah, I mean, the Democrats' strategy for almost a decade has been Orange Man bad. Has been like, oh, look at how stupid and awful Donald Trump is. Guess what? A lot of people who don't like Donald Trump fucking voted for him still. They voted for him because the Democrats were lifeless, because they didn't offer anything that was enough for people to go, you know what? Yeah, I don't like Donald Trump as a person, but what are the Democrats offering me? And I think that's something that's difficult for people to understand. We're not the other guy is not enough.
I mean, you're running on issues that are very relevant to people in New York City: the cost of housing, free busing. Some have projected, that this is the type of platform that would work in other parts of the country. I mean, you're a proud democratic socialist. Do you think that is a platform that would work for other candidates running in other parts of the country?
Absolutely. I think ultimately this is a campaign about inequality. And you don't have to live in the most expensive city in the country to have experienced that inequality, because it's a national issue. And what Americans coast to coast are looking for are people who will fight for them, not just believe in the things that resonate with their lives, but actually fight and deliver on those very things. And part of how we got to this point was through the endorsements of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders, who've been leading this fight against oligarchy across the country. And I think that in focusing on working people and their struggles, we also return back to what makes so many of us proud to be Democrats in the first place.
Let's talk a little bit about the path forward here, because you still have to win a general election, and that is going to be hard fought, which I know you know. You were on track to defeat Andrew Cuomo. He called you to concede. Afterwards, a couple of times, he seems to have floated this potential plan or consideration of running as an independent. Are you preparing for him to run as an independent in the general election, or do you think it's possible he could drop out entirely before next Tuesday?
I think that everything is possible in this race, as we've seen over many, many months. And ultimately, we are prepared for taking on whomever our opponents may be in November. Because when I started this race, I started it running against Eric Adams' second term, running to finally have a city government that sought to resolve the affordability crisis, not exacerbate it. And when Eric Adams dropped out of the Democratic primary, it was Andrew Cuomo that picked up the mantle of that second term. The same donors, the same corruption, the same small vision funded by big money. And we have now defeated that vision in this primary, and I'm prepared to defeat that vision in the general, no matter who it is that's carrying it.
If Andrew Cuomo drops out, he had a lot of big money backers. Do you think they're going to big money back Eric Adams? Is that what?
I thought she was going to say, do you think they're going to big money back you? Ain't no way. Pommy, thank you for the gifted sub.
I think that it's possible. I also think that we have found.
Yeah, look, I have seen the New York Post story about how Andrew Cuomo is not going to run. I would not count out Andrew Cuomo from running. And the reason that I say that is because right now the moneyed interests, the party power is scrambling to figure out how they can defeat Zohran. And I don't think a lot of them view Eric Adams as like the best option here. So permission to hit the bong, Big C, permission granted, Chuggies. So don't discount, don't conclude that Andrew Cuomo is for sure not going to run as an independent. And also don't rest in this moment. Even though Zohran won the primary and won the primary quite handily, because he still has to win the general, and he is going to be coming up against an even bigger war chest. He is going to be because they didn't think he would do this. They didn't think he could do this. I believe Cuomo announced that he's leaving. Has he himself, he said today? Yeah, well, all I will say is I don't feel 100% certain that he will not be, you know, running in the general. Are they that much of dicks they'd want the Republicans to win rather than the socialists? 1,000%. 1,000%. Because they align more with Republicans than they do with a Democratic socialist. 120 million was spent in the 2021 election. They're going to throw the whole bank at this one. Oh yeah, Bill Ackman is behind this, not even behind the scenes right now. He's, you know, posting on Twitter about how he's cooking some stuff up.
Exactly the way to defeat organized money, which is organized people. We're speaking about a scale of a campaign that we haven't seen in the city.
It's still rumored. Yeah, I saw this. I saw the New York Post. Andrew Cuomo to drop mayoral bid after blistering primary defeat to Zohran. Again, I will just say that right now the party and their donors are trying to figure out how they can defeat Zohran in the general, and they're looking at their options that they have. My biggest fear is the breakout Hillary Clinton. Yeah, maybe the surprise candidate will be Hillary Clinton. Maybe Hills will be back. Word is they're looking for someone else to run. Yes. And so if they cannot find someone who they think has a better chance, I believe that Cuomo could be back on the table. But we'll see.
In a long time. And ultimately, we believe in a politics of no translation, one that is both direct to the struggles of working people's lives and also delivered directly. And there is nothing more direct than a New Yorker knocking on another New Yorker's door. And that has been such a key part of this campaign's ability to break through more than $30 million in opposition spending, where New Yorkers were blanketed with attack ads, whether it be when they were turning on their television, their radio, opening their mailbox, or even just watching YouTube. And we were still able to triumph over that.
Both Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, obviously two Democratic leaders, that have had some, I guess, nice things to say, I could describe them as, about you, but didn't endorse you and still haven't endorsed you almost 24 hours after Andrew Cuomo called you to concede. Why do you think that is?
Well, I appreciated both of their remarks, both their acknowledging of the focus of this campaign on affordability, and also with Senator Schumer having worked with him closely to deliver close to $500 million in debt relief for thousands of working class taxi drivers, as well as successfully defeat a proposal to build a frack gas power.
You're gonna see an ad drop of Cuomo walking across New York City or whatever other Democrat or independent they decide to run against Zohran. I think the other thing you have to keep in mind is, like, just because the opposition to Zohran has, the power, the political power and the money, does not mean that they are actually going to they're going to run an effective campaign. And all of the tweets and the comments that have been made by members of the establishment, by the media, they're already showing that they think the way to win is TikTok. That it's like, oh, okay, we got to do what this guy's doing, except we're not going to have we're not going to have the platform that he has. We're just going to we're going to learn from how smart and savvy his social media campaign was. Wait, Cory Booker's going to walk from Lockheed to Raytheon. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean. Where they are going to go, oh, okay, we're just going to do this, right? Because this is why he won. Even though, no, I don't want to like take credit away from his digital and social media team, but that is not the reason why Zohran won. Having a great social media team was not why he won in the primary. It inspired people to go out and volunteer for him, right? It inspired people to like go knock doors and want to be a part of the campaign. Money can't buy a competent political campaign. See Michael Dukakis and M1 Abrams tank. Right. So they might go, okay, who else can we run? If there's no better options, then they'll go, all right, we're going to run Cuomo and we're going to try and do it this way because we think that is how we will win.
Our plant in my district of Astoria in Western Queens. And I think what we are seeing in this moment is an understanding of the mandate that New Yorkers have given us to deliver on this affordability, and also the fact that we will wait a few more days to see the actual final results of this, although we know that we have won this race even without the assistance of ranked choice voting.
I don't think endorsements win elections necessarily, but there's not a lot of proof of that in history. But do you want their support, or do you not care if they come out and forcibly endorse you?
I want their support, and I want the support of any leader across this city and this state and this country, because ultimately what we are looking to show New Yorkers is the fact that this is an ever-expanding coalition. It's not one that is trying to keep tabs of when people join this fight. It's one that's looking to actually deliver on this fight. And what that means is ensuring we use every single tool at our disposal to freeze the rent, to make buses fast and free, and to deliver universal child care.
Hell yeah. Also, I think this is a good vid.
I'm proud to support Zohran Mamdani for New York City. I'm a Jewish New Yorker. I'm proud to be Jewish. I'm proud to support Zohran Mamdani for New York City's next mayor. I really like Zohran Mamdani. I like his vision for New York. I like that he has fresh ideas. I like that he cares about affordability, which honestly I think for me is the biggest issue in the city right now. I also love that he's willing to stand up to the Trump administration's agenda. I saw the video he did where he was responding to Tom Homan.
How many more New Yorkers will you detain? How many more New Yorkers without time?
And I was inspired. He has the kind of courage that I think New York needs. I'm Jewish. I'm proud to be Jewish.
Hello.
I support Palestinian rights, period. I think it's important. We're all humans, and we need to start acting like it.
He wouldn't quite say that he supports Israel as a Jewish homeland or a Jewish state.
Neither do I. I support equality. Anybody from any religion should be free to live anywhere on earth that they want to. I think it's not about countries. I think people have a right to exist.
Of course, but do you think that those things are mutually exclusive? Aren't there tons of people who support Israel as a Jewish homeland who also believe that the Palestinians should have equal rights?
Sure. There's lots of different ways to look at the issue. Personally, I feel that equality is...
First of all, can I just say how fucking amazing it is that she's been holding this picture of Zohran on a popsicle stick the whole time?
Equality, and right now what we're seeing, is genocide and apartheid.
Yes.
I'm not ranking Andrew Cuomo. The fact that he's accepting large donations from Trump's backers really concerns me. I think that says a lot about his potential to be independent. I think some of the other candidates in this race, sure, they have experience, but some of that experience is experience being corrupt.
Do you think that it's Cuomo's to lose?
Almost to lose. Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Who else are you ranking on your ballot?
So I haven't picked an order yet, but right now I'm thinking about Michael Blake, Brad Lander, Adrian Adams, and Zelnor Myrie as my other four. And I feel totally comfortable with any of them being our next mayor.
Yeah, that is... like, don't forget that Jewish people in New York City voted for Zohran. So all these tweets about how, New York City is now not going to be safe for Jewish residents. I guess Zohran winning signals that anti-Semitism is on the ballot. Fuck that shit. Fuck that, okay? What, like, all this talk about people are going to leave New York. No, they're not. No, they are not. Do you think that New York has been this utopia? Absolutely not. It's New York City. People are not going to be leaving New York City. Like, even Republicans who live in New York. Now, obviously, mayors of the past have, you know, Eric Adams, namely, have aligned with Republican interests. But this idea that people are going to leave New York City because of someone like Zohran Mamdani is just simply not true. The reason that people leave New York is mostly because it's so expensive. Like, it is so unbelievably expensive to the average person that they just can't afford to live in New York City. Yeah, seeing all the billionaires crying and virtue signaling, tell me it's all I need to know about Who's for the People. It's one of those like picks or it didn't happen. All right. All y'all saying that you're going to leave New York City. Let's see you leave New York City, because the people who can afford to live in New York City, who are crying about how they're going to leave New York City, even if Zohran were to implement his vision, you know, raise the corporate tax rate as he has advocated, raise the tax rate on those who make over $1 million, they're still going to be able to afford to live in New York City, and they will not leave New York City. If I didn't have a rent stabilized apartment, I wouldn't be able to live here. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how anyone can believe that all the people who are saying they're going to leave New York City for whatever reasons, oh, anti-Semitism, oh, you know, it's not going to be safe for small business owners. How you can believe any of that to be true? Wealth flight is, yeah, no, it's not gonna occur. And those who do leave, good riddance. Bye. Get out. Fine. Pixar, it didn't happen.
With the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford.
Would you ever run for office in California? 50,000 subs and I run for office. So let's get that sub count up. That's what we determined. 50,000 subs. I go to Congress. That's right. CarolineKwan Mills.
We have won.
Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. You know what? Will Neff would be a great first gentleman. He would. He would be an amazing, amazing first gentleman. I would almost run just to have Will Neff as first gentleman. Wasn't that for LAPD? LAPD is 10,000 subs. So remember. Dragon Army, thank you for the 10. Dragon Army, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Sticks, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Maple Takes, what up, dude? Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you, everybody, for contributing to. Thank you for contributing to my Congress run. And we will get there today. Where are my leftist Oilers at? 100,000 subs, you run as a Republican. 100,000 subs, and then Caroline takes over. Rachia, thank you for the 3 months. This and Marsha's Make Me Richer Than Hassan fund. It's so funny. Yeah, make Marsh richer than Hassan and send me to Congress. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Let's listen to Steve Kornacki talking about how Zohran Mamdani won.
Tonight was not our night. Tonight was Assemblyman
Thank you for the level 6 Quan train.
And he put together a great campaign, and he touched young people and inspired them and moved them.
Welcome back. That was Zohran Mamdani declaring victory, and Andrew Cuomo.
I'm sorry, but the words touched young people should never come out of the mouth of someone like Andrew Cuomo.
Conceding defeat after Tuesday's stunning result in New York City's Democratic
Why did he word it like that?
Mamdani, a 33-year-old Democratic socialist, centered his campaign on progressive policies like universal child care and free city buses. His largely grassroots campaign was powered by small dollar donations and a savvy social media presence that included viral videos featuring...
Well, sex pests say the creepiest shit, okay? Every word that comes out of their mouth is tinged with them being sex pests.
Progressive politicians and pop culture celebrities. Cuomo, meanwhile, ran a more traditional campaign backed by big-name endorsements like former President Bill Clinton and a heavy rotation of TV ads. But controversy and scandal from his time as governor hung large over his candidacy. The result has Democrats around the country wondering what Mamdani's victory really says about the state and the future of the Democratic Party. Here to dive into the numbers behind Mamdani's historic night is NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki, who is...
Also, all of the tweets about how... like, Mamdani won because of like migration to New York City, right? Trying to tie it into how immigration in this country is a problem. Hello, white guys, college educated, making $100,000 were big supporters of Zohran's campaign. So Stephen Miller and all these other racists, are you saying that you want to get rid of white bros who are college educated and make over $100,000? Is that who you're talking about? Also, New York City, the city of immigrants. New York City is the city of immigrants. It has always been. It's just that in the 1900, these were immigrants coming from Europe. And guess what? A lot of the descendants of European immigrants in New York City voted for Mamdani.
Where else at the big board? So, Steve, how did he pull off this earthquake?
Yeah, Kristen, I mean, some really interesting numbers here when you take a look inside New York City. First of all, see the overall results here so far. Still some votes to be tabulated here. This won't be official for another week, but as you say, Cuomo's already conceded because, look, Cuomo felt he needed to be ahead after this initial account. They've got that ranked choice system in New York. It was pretty clear that a lot of these other candidates who weren't really in contention when their votes got reallocated in ranked choice, a lot of them had been saying to their voters, if you don't vote for me, vote for Mamdani. So the question was, could Cuomo get far enough ahead last night to withstand that? He didn't even get ahead last night. So that's why this kind of became a foregone conclusion here. We'll break this down now into some of the neighborhoods, though, because I think that's where you really start to see this age. You heard Cuomo cite that young voters he said Mamdani had brought out done well with. Here's a tale of two neighborhoods in New York City. This right here, Bay Terrace in Queens. This is the highest median age of any neighborhood in New York City. And look what happened here. The oldest voters, that was Cuomo's base here in this primary. He won by a better than 2-to-1 margin over Mamdani. Take a look now. Morningside Heights. This is up by Columbia University. This is the youngest median age of any neighborhood in New York City. And look what happened here. Mamdani won it. He won it overwhelmingly. Better than 2-to-1 against Cuomo. In fact, Cuomo came in third place in this neighborhood. So that's a pattern you saw. The younger areas were big areas for Mamdani. Also, this is
I mean, look, y'all, this is how it goes in politics, okay? Older voters skew as establishment supporters, okay? They are status quoers. So young people, this is why you got to talk to your parents. You got to talk to your aunts and uncles. You got to talk to your grandparents, older people not wanting to rock the boat, being risk averse, right? These are the conversations that you have to have with older family members. Now, look, if you're a leftist and your uncle is MAGA, that is not a conversation that is probably going to result in any type of effective change. However, I use my mother as an example on like every single stream where I'm talking about politics. I have conversations all the time with my mom, who was so firmly entrenched within the Democratic Party and is not as to the left as I am, but I have like helped her in her moving away from establishment Dems. That like she is in her 60s. She has worked in Democratic politics for a long time, and she is very angry. She's very mad. A lot of people are. And so using that to like point out how, hey, this doesn't have to be how things go, right? Like, you don't have to keep supporting the establishment when you recognize that like your life doesn't improve under them, and that they are not they are not going to be the opposition to Donald Trump that you are looking for. Took months to convince my mom to at the very least rank Mamdani, but she agreed to eventually. See? There you go. It can happen. Anger to the point where they decide not to vote at all, or where's that anger leading them? No, they are still a voting block, right? They are still voters who will vote, but it is trying to introduce them to candidates who are not going to be getting positive coverage from legacy media, like the way that liberal media talked about Mamdani was not at all positive. Now, in the wake of him winning, they're all like, "Oh yeah, congratulations! Wow, look at the very effective campaign that he ran." But they don't support candidates like him.
The big divide we talk about in American politics, and it's big in the Democratic Party, the education divide. Mamdani doing so much better with voters who had college degrees.
I finally got my dad to concede that Israel may have gone too far. Yeah, I mean, these are important. These are important wins. So, congratulations to everyone who has been able to move the needle, even if it hasn't quite yet resulted in your parents voting differently. At least like those conversations are being had.
Or look at this one, advanced degrees. That is a graduate degree or more. Almost half of the people, the adults in Park Slope, Brooklyn, have at least a graduate degree. And look at this. Mamdani got almost half the vote there. Cuomo barely registered, only 13%. A third candidate here, Brad Lander, got 34%. Other end of the education spectrum, more blue-collar, working class, no college degree. Almost 90% of the folks in Fordham Heights have no college degree. Look at this. Cuomo, again, a landslide for Cuomo there. Nearly 60% of the vote, the education divide. And then, of course, we look among non-white voters here. I thought this is interesting because key core traditional part of the Democratic Party base has been black voters. This neighborhood.
Yeah, and I think, that's reflective of the working class shift, right? Whether it is in a Democratic primary or in a presidential election, the divide between class, the divide between education, and we've seen that shift occurring over decades. Once upon a time, union members, working class, blue collar voters were members of, were voters of the Democratic Party, but have shifted away. And so that's not a surprise with the Democratic primary, where Cuomo was much more to the right than someone like Mamdani, and also had the backing of the establishment. Also, Cuomo's such a big name in NYC. Many older black voters remember Mario Cuomo fondly. Yeah, I also think because Cuomo was governor during the pandemic, and even though he was horrible and literally engaged in a cover-up of deaths at nursing homes, there is this tendency to like have nostalgia for politicians who were in office during during major events. And so a lot of older voters and older voters in black communities cited Cuomo like getting them through the pandemic, the familiarity, as a reason why they were going to vote for him, you know? Politicians during crises are endeared to some boomers.
Means 84% of the adult population is black, and Mario Cuomo, listen to me, Andrew Cuomo wins overwhelmingly
That's how
against
deep the
Mamdani.
Cuomo dynasty is.
But Cuomo did not run up similar numbers among Latino voters
He killed my grandma, but I know him.
American voters. Taking a look here in Corona, Queens, highest Latino population, a share of the population. Look at this. It was almost a tie here. Cuomo narrowly winning. Cuomo's folks had been hoping, his campaign had been banking on something much bigger than that here. Asian American, highest concentration, Flushing, Queens. Basically a tie right there as well. So that is those two groups, the Latinos, Asian Americans, early in the campaign, the Cuomo people thought that was something of a firewall. That didn't hold up for them last night, and that was a very big key in Mamdani's victory.
Looking at a potential political realignment yet again, this time in the Democratic Party and the Democratic coalition. Steve Kornacki, thank you so much for those fascinating numbers and breakdown of the race.
We thank you for watching, and remember...
Mike from PA endorsed you as a candidate for mayor of LA. Will you accept? Can we get on the Kwan train? Oh my God, Why does he have my Instagram pulled up? He also messaged me and was like, hey, can you send me... He said, I need photos of you at strikes and protests. Thank you. Also, some of your glamour shots.
I think legitimately, if we could get her to do it, does she want to?
Ravers for Kwan.
You know she does.
No, what is this? You know she does. Look, I'm gonna get all the EDC. I'll get all the I'll get all the EDC heads to support me. I'll be like, look, I'm gonna make EDC affordable again. All right, raving will be affordable again. Under me. You got my vote. That's right. You're a single issue voter. Do you think we could get Kenneth to run? That's a good question. That's a good question. I know that he has I mean, look, he's comptroller, which a lot of people don't even fucking know what that is, but he did have some breakout moments during the LA wildfires when he was holding Karen Bass accountable for slashing the firefighter budget, giving cops more money. I think people were kind of paying attention to someone like him and what his office does in a way that they normally wouldn't have. I think there could be some serious money to be made and amazing vibes we had if someone made a new Burning Man that only grew by word of mouth. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna run on making this country Burning Man without all the tech bros. I'm gonna run on making it so that tech bros are not allowed to go to Burning Man. I'd door knock the entire length of Sunset to spread the good word of Kwanunism. Yeah, we're gonna nationalize Burning Man. That's right. That's right, everybody. Maybe, you know what? Actually, wait, I have a great idea. Maybe this is how I finally get to meet Hannah Einbinder and Melissa Barrera, is I run for Congress and I get like, I get my celeb support. Okay. I get like the cool celebs in Hollywood. This is how we win. Oh, wait a second. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Why not Burning Woman? On second thought, scratch that. We're gonna make Burning Man, Burning Woman. Never mind, just kidding. Can you make a rap song? If I run for office, I'm going to have a rap video. This much is clear. Running for office exclusively to meet celebrities is a good bit. I'm like, look, hey, love for you to come on the stream. Love to chat about what we can do to make Los Angeles better. And also, I'm such a huge fan of hacks. I'm obsessed. Okay, let's see how much time I have. Let me cover a couple other things that we got going on. Namely, these are the celebs who are attending Jeff Bezos' Venice wedding that we are aware of. So when we talk about how it's a big club and you ain't in it, I ain't in it, we ain't in it, Oprah's at Jeff B's wedding. The Kardashians are at Jeffy B's wedding, my boss's wedding. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. So remember that all these folks, they are in the same club. They are all on the same team, and we ain't a part of it. So Jeffy B and Lauren Sanchez's wedding is happening in Venice, despite the protests of people who live in Venice. And it is a star-studded guest list. You've got Tom Brady, former NFL quarterback Tom Brady. You've got Kim Kardashian, as mentioned, as well as Khloe Kardashian. Orlando Bloom, recently having announced that he and Katy Perry are splitting up. So Katy Perry's world tour was the end of her marriage to Orlando Bloom. You got Mick Jagger, you got Leonardo DiCaprio, you got Bill Gates, Diane von Furstenberg and her husband, Ivanka Trump, her husband Jared Kushner, and their 3 children. The wedding has divided Venice, with some activists protesting it as an exploitation of the city by the billionaire Bezos, while ordinary residents suffer from over-tourism, high housing costs, and the constant threat of climate-induced flooding. One group called Extinction Rebellion staged a small protest in St. Mark's Square on Thursday, featuring a masked bride and groom and people holding posters decrying climate change and income inequalities. The planet is burning, but don't worry. Here's the list of 27 dresses of Lauren Sanchez, read one, a reference to the bride's reported wedding weekend wardrobe. Protesters said that their plans to disrupt the arrivals of guests at one of the wedding venues forced organizers to move the event to the more secure Arsenal area beyond Venice's congested center. You know, it should come to no surprise how many of the wealthiest celebrities are friendly with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. Because they're all on the same team, okay? They're in the same club, and we ain't in it. The city administration has strongly defended the nuptials as keeping with Venice's tradition as an open city that has welcomed popes, emperors, and ordinary visitors alike for centuries. They're like, hey, we've had popes here, so we can have Jeff Bezos' wedding. We will always respect the right to speak out, but we reject every form of intolerance and prejudice. Wow, the word prejudice doing some real heavy lifting here. Mayor Luigi Brugnaro said in Thursday's edition of Italian newspaper Il Foglio Quotidiano, no one in Venice can claim the right of deciding who can enter, who can love and who can celebrate. That is not a good Luigi. We like this Luigi not very much. So, I think every time we see stuff like this, it's just a reminder that a billionaire is a billionaire, right? It doesn't matter if they are on the side of Republicans, on the side of Democrats. A billionaire is still a billionaire. And you might go, well, hold on. It's not there, okay, well, Oprah being at the same wedding as the Kushners, she can't control who's invited. Remember whose wedding this is. This is Jeff Bezos' wedding. Jeff Bezos, who supported Donald Trump. All these people who are going to Jeff Bezos' wedding, they're on the same side. They are capitalists. They are billionaires. That is the group that always has class consciousness. Yes. They will always have class consciousness. Oh no, Jeff Bezos has a different worldview than you do. Yeah, I wouldn't call Jeff Bezos's exploitation of this planet and the workers on this planet as having a different worldview than me. You might, and that's why you will never have class consciousness. That is why all these billionaires will always unite to ensure that their class stays strong, remains in power. But not you. I just came from Mike's stream. Are you running for Congress? At 50,000 subs, I sure am. The question is, will he thank Amazon customers and employees for paying for his wedding? And most importantly, Donald J. Trump and JD Vance. Watch out. That Vance emote could get you in trouble. Yeah, difference of opinion, and the opinion is world domination. The opinion is contributing massively to climate change. The opinion is exploiting workers. The difference of opinion is like whether or not exploitation is a good thing. Duo Max, thank you for the 5 gifted subs and for the Prime. I hate that type of person because I know that they're currently in a job that they hate defending a billionaire. Man, I just am like, this is the thing that always happens. This is the thing that always happens, is people who will never be on, who will never be close to being in this club, will defend these people, will do the work for them. And I don't know what to tell you besides these people are not on your side. Okay? If you don't understand the harm that someone like Jeff Bezos has caused, then you need to wake up, okay? The harm that Amazon, as well as Jeff Bezos as an individual, has caused.
Please run.
Oh boy. Anna Wintour is stepping down as editor-in-chief of Vogue after 37 years. Oh my God, this is Fashan's moment. Fashan! Let him know it was me. Fashan over there saying I want her to know it was me. Miss Fuck-Ass Bob is out. She's gone. This is Fashan's time. D. Desmond, thank you for the 16 months. Scurvy, thank you for the 2 months. I have literally watched Tech Bros erode and destroy every facet of society that helps normal people. Yeah. Jeff Bezos is bad for this planet. He is bad for the people who inhabit this planet. You have so many career options available. I know. I have so many career options available. I could go become the editor-in-chief of Vogue. I could go run for Congress. The sky's the limit. The sky is the absolute limit. Why not both? Why not? Anyway, chatter, I hope you understand that my criticism of all of these billionaires, all of these capitalists being together at the same wedding and highlighting that these people, whether they vote Democrat, whether they, whether they throw their support to Democrats or Republicans, that they are all part of the same club. And that is a club that comes at the expense of the working masses. So I am not your enemy. The people in this chat are not your enemy. We are not the ones who are causing mass exploitation, who are damaging this planet, who are causing it to catch, who are catching this planet on fire. They use their billions. Oh my God, my brain. They use their billions of dollars to ensure that their power is never threatened. All right, speaking of billionaires. Oh, yikes. Okay, let's talk about why people are mad at Beyonce. Why are people mad at Beyonce? Why are people posting stuff like this? Who run the world? Overexploited poor workers in places like Sri Lanka. Why are people mad at Beyonce? Okay, people are mad at Beyonce because Beyonce stepped out wearing this shirt, wearing this Buffalo Soldiers shirt. And on the back of the shirt was a very long explainer of the Buffalo Soldiers, starting with, blacks have played a far greater role in American military history than most people could ever imagine. Perhaps no other unit personifies both the remarkable achievements and significant obstacles that were overcome than the Buffalo Soldiers. Okay, so it gets into the role that they played following the Civil War, blah, blah, blah. The asset that they were to the United States Army. Okay, and let me skip down to the paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paragraph number 5 that specifically has enraged people. Okay. Their antagonists, so they're being the Buffalo Soldiers, their antagonists were the enemies of peace, order, and settlement. Warring Indians, bandits, cattle thieves, murderous gunmen, bootleggers, trespassers, and Mexican revolutionaries. All these they met many times and with success, regardless of extremes of climate and terrain that ranged from the broken, rugged, and torrid Big Bend of Texas to the rolling plains, badlands, and sub-freezing temperatures of South Dakota. Many a frontier official owed his life and his job to the support given him by these black men in blue, and many more farmers and ranchers slept soundly in their beds because a thin line of black troopers guarded them from harm. Yeah. So, namely, calling Native American tribes, people who are indigenous to this country, Mexican revolutionaries, antagonists, is what has gotten a lot of people upset. So let me talk about the Buffalo Soldiers, because the Buffalo Soldiers have a complex legacy, all right? The Buffalo Soldiers are highly esteemed. We're highly esteemed, especially within the black community. I would say the general American public probably does not know much about the Buffalo Soldiers, but because of the role that they played in history, they are especially esteemed within the black community. because they fought on the battlefield, because they are seen as having overcome the chains of slavery, because they are a part of the fabric of the United States of America, in that they played a role in westward expansion, in that they played a role in the Spanish-American War, etc. So the issue is that to talk about the blacks, to talk about the black soldiers who comprised the army regiments that then came to be known as the Buffalo Soldiers, you have to reckon with these black soldiers being both oppressed and also being the oppressor. And of course, the main oppressor being that of white America, being that of the power that formed the founding of this country, the white ideals and the white supremacy, the European white supremacy that led to the extermination of indigenous population on these lands. And so it's a very, it's complicated. It's a complicated legacy where there has to be reconciliation with regard to the Native American community. Because the Buffalo Soldiers, even though they played a very important role in World War I, also in World War II, they also played a prominent role in the westward expansion, which resulted in the continued displacement and genocide of natives in this country. They also played a role in fighting against Mexican revolutionaries who were also fighting to protect their lands from settlers. So it's very complicated. And, it's one of those things too, where you look at how like the modern day military draft preys upon people from middle and lower income communities, right? We call it the poverty draft because of how predatory the military has been towards poor people in this country. And the military has been offered as a way to like pull yourself out of poverty, to have opportunities that otherwise life would not afford you. And that was the same thing that was pitched to Black Americans after the end of slavery, when they had no economic opportunities, when many who ended up joining the Buffalo Soldier regiments had previously been slaves, that they were dealing with still the chains of oppression, that they were dealing with, systematic racism, and they viewed joining the military, fighting not with the white soldiers in the U.S. Army because they were not allowed to, but fighting on behalf of the U.S. Army as a ticket to freedom. And so Beyonce stepping out wearing this shirt, especially at a time when what is happening within this country is awful, and you have communities who are being ripped apart, people who are being targeted by the United States government. All of this talk about like who belongs in America and who doesn't belong in America. And for Beyonce to step out wearing this shirt that had the language of the oppressor on the back of the shirt, talking about enemies of peace, enemies of America being Mexican revolutionaries, being warring Indians, etc. It has a lot of people upset. So this piece here in Kron is talking about how Beyonce has been accused of military propaganda ahead of her Houston tour stop. On June 22nd, a Beyonce fan account, Poison Honeybee, posted a now deleted tweet with photos of a shirt that Beyonce wore on stage. The tweet cited the Buffalo Soldiers, an all-black military regiment founded in the 19th century. Folks were quick to point out some troubling language referencing Native Americans in the print on the shirt that details the history and significance of the Buffalo Soldiers. Beyonce wore the shirt on her Juneteenth show in Paris, as documented heavily on her official website, where the images posted on X are from. It's not clear where the shirt is from or if it's an original creation from Beyonce herself. In the 5th paragraph of the essay feature on the back of the shirt, the text reads, "There, the Buffalo Soldiers' antagonists were the enemies of peace, order, and settlement. Warring Indians, bandits, cattle thieves, murderous gunmen, bootleggers, trespassers, and Mexican revolutionaries." Also, a lot of the tweets and other statements that are upset with Beyonce are actually coming from Beyonce fans, where usually you will see that there is a division when it comes to criticism of Beyonce, and of course, like her fans, her biggest stans are going to be endlessly defending her no matter what. But this seems to kind of crossed a line that even some of her biggest supporters are not defending her on this. B is one of my favorite all-time artists. I'm so upset. Why is she glorifying the genocide of Indigenous Americans like the Buffalo Soldiers were used to ethnically cleanse Indigenous people from Turtle Island? Girl, why I wake up and see Beyonce calling Native Americans defending their home enemies of peace? The Buffalo Soldiers were black soldiers that were given false promises, and a good portion of them were mostly once owned slaves manipulated into doing dirty work for white men. This is a nuanced part of history. It makes me sad Beyonce would glorify such a difficult and terrible thing. Jacked Up Bubbles, thank you for the 17 months. Nestor Fester, thank you for the 6 months. During the 19th century, the United States Army established battalions known as the Buffalo Troops, which were made up entirely of African-American soldiers and served on the frontier. Also, there are a couple sources of how the Buffalo Soldiers got their name, but one of them is that name was given to them by the Native American tribes that they fought, because they likened them to a stampede of buffaloes, I think. Like the toughness of these regiments, of these soldiers, was likened to to that of the buffalo. The tribes who fought against the regiments during the American Indian War allegedly gave them the name Buffalo Soldiers, which later came to refer to all African-American battalions. Commenters and even diehard fans were quick to call out Beyonce, suggesting the remarks were insensitive, with some in disbelief that the star greenlit using a very nuanced part of history for her tour outfit. Many wondered why she would not use any of the other black military regiments that served in the Civil War or World War II, but chose the regiment with a complicated history that was formed to uphold American colonialism in the West. While many were shocked by the shirt, some critics were not surprised. Beyonce's Cowboy Carter era has been heavily criticized for its use of the American flag and patriotic imagery. And I have to say, too, and I talk about this on the podcast, which, it's Thursday. We got a new podcast episode. This was my Let Me Know segment, but I went to Cowboy Carter and I had a good time. I think Beyonce is an amazing performer, but my one main critique was how all of the American flag imagery, Beyonce wearing an American flag dress as she was singing the national anthem, it felt like now is especially not the moment. Like, read the room. And it did not feel like Beyonce was reclaiming patriotism as defenders and as she has claimed this tour is all about. Especially in a contentious time in American politics, the mixing of American patriotism with black pride has seemed strange to many. Most supporters were adamant that the imagery would be subverted, but now many are coming to the conclusion that there was never going to be any such subversion. Even Beyonce's subreddit, a place where criticism of the superstar is highly unlikely, is having a hard time coming to terms with the imagery. B was in a tough position. Her fans have been so insistent on not taking a hint that she had to put it in plain text. That lady wore blood diamonds for a Tiffany & Co. ad after years of black radical and pan-Africanist imagery. Still incredibly shameful, but very on brand for her. This is why the whole reclaiming of the American flag was BS. Just propaganda to justify black Americans' forced role in American imperialism like it's some honorable gesture. Looking for credit and a seat at a table that inherently can never be for us is legit insanity. And to me, this gives the same energy as like, as cops who are black, cops who are, you know, minorities, where they are historically, you know, they historically are from communities that have been oppressed by law enforcement, by the state, and then contribute to the oppression of others, you know, of minorities in this country by putting on the uniform. And it's also, you know, the continued, and again, it's the manipulation and predatory practices of the military where they go into black and brown communities, lower income black and brown communities, and get high schoolers to enlist for the military. And then, you know, what we've been seeing is like for, say, undocumented young people who are promised that, oh, if you join the military, that's a shortcut to becoming documented in this country. They're being arrested by ICE as we speak. They come home from their tour and they're being rooted out by law enforcement in this country. And it's also the energy of like, oh, we finally have a black president, which means that racism is solved, which means that, you know, we are finally going to see equality in this country, that like the systems of oppression will no longer exist because look at who we have at the highest, you know, look at what we have at the highest seat at the highest table. And having a seat at the table, when that table continues to uphold the status quo, is never going to result in any form of breaking of chains. Right? It's not going to result in equality among the masses. The merchandise and the shirt are not currently on the singer's official website. Beyonce's tour returns stateside this weekend with 2 shows in her hometown of Houston. Not trying to derail things, but have you covered who her husband is currently working with? It all makes sense. Wait. Jay-Z and Jeffrey Yass? This guy's last name is Yass? Ain't no way. A Republican mega donor trying to destroy public education in Pennsylvania. Beware of manufactured heroes. Why is Jay-Z joining forces with a Republican mega donor? Jay-Z and Jay Yass, a toxic pairing. Republicans or Pennsylvanians slam. Wait, let me look at this whole thread. Hold on. Beyonce's clothing line is made by sweatshop laborers on slave wages, and she's playing a show in Israel. So, okay, this was from 2016. Beyonce and Jay-Z don't give a fuck about police brutality or any other issues you care about. They care about money. Jay-Z's ideology has been shaped by the right. This person has been keeping this thread going since 2016. And they just keep adding to it. Look at this. 2019. Jay-Z's ideology has been shaped by the rise of a parasitic class that stands in total opposition to the liberation of not just black people, but of humanity itself. Jeffrey Epstein, Jay-Z, and the miserable world created by the billionaire ruling class. You wonder why I hate Jay-Z? Last night, Jay-Z hosted an Oscar party at the Chateau Marmont, which is currently in the midst of a boycott led by black women who were fired after complaining about repeated sexual harassment and assault at the hands of guests. The boycott is backed by other celebs, and yet Jay-Z still held an Oscars party there. This should be the next album cover. Jay-Z, now this is from 2018. Jay-Z was part of the project to evict tenants and take homes from people through eminent domain to construct an arena in Brooklyn for the slave trading Barclay banking family. Oh my God, look at him. Look at him alongside. Jay-Z and Jack Dorsey's Bitcoin Academy is not going over well. Okay, now they're into 2023. When people noted Jay-Z's status as the apex capitalist predator of hip-hop, leveraging his and our our purchasing power and values to enrich himself and then jump ship, he cynically equated the term capitalist to anti-black racist slurs. 2024. I hate this man so much. Stay the fuck out of Philadelphia, you greedy vulture. Jay-Z's Rock Nation will spearhead an educational campaign in Philadelphia that helps students K through 12 from low-income households secure about $300 million scholarships to attend the city's private schools. Rock Nation pushing for school vouchers. Rock Nation's lobbying efforts cast suspicions on Jay-Z's association with GOP's top funder. Of course, he owns a Cybertruck. Oh my God. This is the most dedicated thread. They have been keeping this thread going for 8 years. Sorry, but I couldn't take Beyonce seriously after she couldn't say one thing about the genocide in Gaza nor the ICE actions. Yeah, I mean, y'all, like, I think what this comes down to is Beyonce and Jay-Z are capitalist billionaires, all right? They are very talented. Beyonce is one of the greatest performers living, but please do not mistake revolutionary language and imagery that they use in their art as actually being for the people. They are mega capitalists, and at the end of the day, for Beyonce and Jay-Z, it's just all about money. All right, like we've known that. We've known that. And I think some people who have maybe defended Beyonce in the past on trying to claim that she is like actually radical, that she actually is radical politics, have finally gone, you know what? I think I can't defend her anymore. I think it's reached a point where like I can't look at Beyonce's silence around some of the biggest pressing issues of our time, and then her, you know, going on tour essentially promoting the American flag, and I can't line those things up with this idea of Beyonce being, having any type of radical politics. I love the music, but Beyonce and Jay-Z have always given me off vibes, to be completely honest. Yeah, and I'm not saying that, like, you can't enjoy an artist because you like their music. I mean, look, fuck Chris Brown, though. Do not fucking support people like Chris Brown. I'm not saying that, you know, you have to hold Beyonce. Like, if Beyonce does not... If Beyonce does not exhibit real radical politics, that like you can no longer listen to her music. But I think this idea, this pretending that she is radical, like, is so silly, and it has to come to an end. And this idea that like she is subverting the American flag, that like she's reclaiming America for Black people, I do not think that is the case. All right. The timing of her Americana, and it's also very much so like, read the fucking room, man. Read the room. At this moment in history, going around wearing an American flag dress, singing the national anthem to open up your show, it's not aligning with what people in this country, Black, brown, immigrants, LGBTQ folks, like what minorities, what those who are marginalized in the United States, what their experience with this country is. Indigenous populations. Subversion requires actual critique, not just cosplay. As someone in Brooklyn, Barclays was supposed to be offering affordable housing by end of May and hasn't faced any of the fines for not completing that project. Damn.
Developers staring down massive fines for unfinished affordable housing in Prospect Heights. News 12's Nadia Galindo tells us about the project that also brought us Barclays Center, but failed to deliver the promise that community members fought for.
Housing, hoops, and jobs. That's how the Atlantic Yards Pacific Park project was sold to the community. It did bring Barclays Center some jobs, but only 55% of the 2,500 affordable housing units promised.
So part of it was a lot of empty promises, a lot of fantastic thinking.
The housing units were supposed to be built over this Long Island
Alexandra,
Railroad Yard.
thank you for the tier
6
1.
residential towers seen in this rendering.
Maddie, thank
that
you
would
for 27
include
months.
876 affordable units. But developer Greenland USA foreclosed on the right to...
Wait, FD had a great take. what did he? I think he made a video, right?
Builds the remaining housing, leaving the project at a standstill.
Somebody would have to buy that debt, and that has not happened yet.
The deadline to finish building that affordable housing is next month on May 31st. The developer could face thousands of dollars in fines every day for each apartment not built.
So we're a month away from a deadline that can't be met, and there are liquidated damages in a contract that must be paid.
Empire State Development, the state entity overseeing the project, says building the affordable housing remains a top priority, and they will, quote, continue to keep the community's best interests at the forefront as we push towards the completion of this project. In Prospect Heights, Nadia Galindo, News 12 Brooklyn.
Yeah, look, I think this gets to the reality that capitalists are going to capitalist, whether they are white, whether they are black, whether they are men, whether they are women. And the bottom line is the bottom line is profit, right? The bottom line is, how can I make as much money as I can and to continue to make even more money, right? There is no end of the line. And when it comes to the myth of black excellence, black excellence being tied up in the black bourgeoisie, black capitalism, this is a conversation that I think needs to be had more of, where minorities achieving billionaire status, minorities becoming a part of the bourgeoisie is not equality, is not like, oh, this is how we achieve how we make a better life for the working class masses. Like, this is not black liberation to have more black capitalists, to have more black billionaires. Tia Noir has a great video on this. Tia Noir has a great video on this. Cash Grab Carter, a parasocial and introspection. Okay, I'm gonna save this video. Unfortunately, I have to jump on a tech call in like 15 minutes, so I don't have time to watch that. Black excellence is just American exceptionalism in black. It's black excellence is black capitalism, right? It's like the girl boss feminism being more female CEOs. No, that does not bring liberation for women. That is not going to liberate poor and working class women by having more Sheryl Sandbergs. Sorry, but that is just not the way that the world works. Having a seat at the table as a minority, as a member of a historically oppressed class, is not going to result in inequality and liberation for everyone else. We say we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. Huey Newton said this. That's right. You cannot fight against the against the oppressive structures created by capitalism, maintained by capitalism, with more capitalism, just of a different color, just of a different gender. But what if our drone pilots were black lesbian women, right? Oh, they say the next one is going to be sent by a woman. Makes you feel great to be a part of history. Yeah, I mean, look no further than the presidency of Barack Obama. What did Barack Obama do for black people in this country? Nothing. And in fact, not only did he not improve their situations, he kept funding for police at an all-time high. He was he passed legislation. He did not veto legislation that caused harm to black communities. So no, Barack Obama was not the savior for black people in this country. His presidency did not at all lead to any type of any type of black equality in the way that people thought it would. Growing up Mexican, I get people telling me, did you know the richest man, Carlos Slim, is Mexican? I was like, okay, the fuck am I supposed to do with that info? How does that help us? You're like, great. How the fuck does that help me? The richest man being Mexican and I'm also Mexican? No, you know what that does instead? Is that it offers a cover. It's like, oh, you're going to criticize this person when you're from the same, you have the same ethnicity, you're of the same gender, huh? I thought you were always talking about like evil white people. Oh, so now it's evil. Now it's evil rich Mexican people. It's like, yeah. And then you know what it also contributes to? The pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. Where it's like, look, this guy did it. This guy did it. What oppression are you even talking about? This person who comes from the same background as you, guess what? They pulled themselves up. They worked hard and they made it. So if you're not making it, it's because you're just not good enough. Because you're lazy. Because you are the problem. Evil rich Mexican people is just a telenovela. Same thing happened with Killer Mike. He was a heavy messenger for Bernie in 2016, but became a capitalist banker. Yeah. I don't know what to say other than Beyonce and Jay-Z they're not on your team. All right. None of these people are on your team. They have class consciousness. And that is with the billionaire class that they are a part of. That is with the capitalist class that they are a part of. So please don't get it twisted. Don't forget. Don't forget where the divisions lie. And when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, these people will always be aligned with one another because they're protecting their interests, right? They're ensuring that the capitalist billionaire class does not have to take any accountability, does not have to pay their fair share in this world. And that's how the story goes. Barack and Beyonce are both weaponized symbols of hope. If you just work hard enough, maybe you too can be successful. As a black femme, it's incredibly hard to critique them. Yeah, I mean, like, you look at all the photos of when Beyonce was Beyonce and Jay-Z and other, like, powerful black celebrities, Oprah, were campaigning for Barack Obama, and, like, all the images that came out. And it was like, look at this, right? Finally, black people have risen up. And it's like, no, man, those are just billionaires. What are you talking about? Those are the people who are, albeit still outnumbered, but are at the top of the totem pole. As a sports fan, there's so much solidarity and class consciousness among owners. Recent story from Pablo Torre about collusion amongst NFL owners. Of course. In the same way that, like, look, guys, in the same way that you'll see, Joe Biden and other Democrats laughing and hugging Lindsey Graham, right? Members of the Republican Party. You'll see them in Congress, these supposed enemies, right? Opposition, and how they're all in the same club, right? These establishment politicians who don't actually seem to really be at odds with each other. Because why would they be? SC Muse, thank you for the gifted sherb. Ice-T said it best. Yeah, now Ice-T is out here doing, like, commercials for... I'm fed up with this shit. Commercials for, like... I don't know, whatever the fuck he's doing these days.
Nobody gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Motherfuck this
Y'all whores. Music ain't saying shit no more. Read my lips. Read my lips. Read my lips. You ain't talking about shit. America's losing their cribs. Why you bragging about the shit you did or the shit you buy? Most of it lies. Yeah, I know, and you know I know. The government's tapping the net. Why you rapping about your car and jet? I miss PE, I miss groups like Rage. Your pop shit's making me physically sick. Obama did 8 years, cuz. Why you singing about bottles and clubs? This shit don't make no sense. Most of your fans can't pay their rent. You've been sold a fantasy. You're living in a bubble full of bullshit. A pop bubble full of bullshit. You've been sold a fantasy. You're living in a bubble full of bullshit. A pop bubble full of bullshit. You're living in a bubble. You've been sold a fantasy. Little do you know the price we pay. So sick or ignored children's die. While veterans come out to the real war. Living in debt on borrowed time. Some bankers steal, some media lies. Now you've been bought and fucking sold. To the ceiling to temple, Lord and gold. Music's come a long way. Guys have gone from fight to power to what does Kim Kardashian have on today?
What does Kim Kardashian have on today? All right, you guys, I gotta head out of here because I gotta jump on a tech call. Is Ice-T still based? Ice-T's been effectively neutered. I gotta jump out. I gotta jump off because I have to jump on a tech call, and then I have to do that show next today at 2 p.m. So I'll be live again for that. But I hope you guys have had a great start to your day, a great morning, and I will see you later. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. I'm gonna send you guys over to I'm gonna send you guys to Mythological. I'll send you to Myth. How about that? I think he's doing a fun IRL. All right, that's all I got for now. So remember, just lead by the example that you want to see in this world. And it doesn't mean not holding people accountable for bad behavior, but it means being the change that you want to see in this world. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean?
You're living in a bubble full of bullshit. A pop bubble full of bullshit. You're living in